What I would like to discuss with you today is street parking and Garmin's take on this. Maybe I can start with a little demonstration of the problem. We have here a map of the city of Munich, and let's assume we have an appointment pretty much in the middle of the city. Now our GPS tells us where to go, so we are driving towards the middle of the city. That's all easy. Destination found, but then we figure out, oh, there is no parking. We all know this problem. We start driving around. We do not find something. There's pedestrian zones, so it's pretty nasty and pretty consuming our nerves. So what we want to do, what we would want to have is to know what is the likelihood to find something. Right? We know from analyzing our probes that 20% of the traffic in urban areas, in cities, is caused by people looking for parking spots. And how nice would it be to avoid this kind of traffic? Just go to a street where there's good likelihood to find something. And I'm very happy that I can announce that Garmin is now capable to indicate probabilities to find parking spots along inner city street segments in real time. Just to give you some background on this, I've been working now almost 2 years on that, and we see a lot of buzz in the market. A lot of people are talking about this. You see a lot of papers, you see a lot of talks at conferences, a lot of people talk about it. There's also some players, important players, entering the market, aggressively entering the market. Parkopedia, Inrix, just to name two. Inrix just acquired a startup in this area a couple of weeks ago. They also had an announcement together with BMW that they would make on-street parking available next year. There is also a lot of startups in the area, also in Berlin, a lot of venture capital going into this important domain. There's two core startup activity. One is on-street parking, so the computation of available spots, what we are doing right now. And the other thing is managing the parking payment, managing mobile parking payment. A third trend that I haven't mentioned here, but that is also noteworthy, is the reservation of parking spots. So I would predict that we will see for parking garages, for parking lots, the same trend that we've seen for airplanes and trains. So there will be a yield management. The sooner you book a parking spot, the cheaper it will be. If you, for example, have a doctoral appointment, you usually know this a couple of weeks ahead of time, so you can book your parking spot 4 weeks before that, and this will be much cheaper than just booking the parking spot 2 hours before you actually enter the parking garage. I think this is something that we will see, and this is something that will soon enter also the navigation industry. So let me come back a little bit now to our own solution. We were the first to have such an innovative service added to our navigation systems. We announced this free service at IFA. The feedback was overwhelming, I must say, both from end customers and from industry analysts. The nice thing about it is it's a problem that everybody is familiar with, and the solution is quite easy to explain. So the feedback is very, very good. And at IFA, we were also able to equip a couple of journalists with a better version of our app. And also the test results were fantastic. So we can say that in 80%, our model is accurate. Sometimes we're a bit over pessimistic, so we are indicating lower probability than the reality actually shows. But that's okay. We're quite happy with the 80%. We launched 6 German cities, but given the very positive feedback, we also speeded up, and we will now expand the service to cities in the US, in UK, in Austria, in Netherlands, and also one more city in Germany. The solution, what is the technology behind? So the idea is to provide probability in real time. What is the likelihood to find a parking spot along a certain street segment on both sides of the street? What we do is we take probe data. We have now heard quite something about probe data, about floating car data. And the basic idea, which seems quite simple, is to look at the inflow and the outflow at a certain street segment. So how many cars are entering a street segment and how many cars are exiting a street segment. And from the difference we can derive the occupancy of parking spots along this dedicated street segment. We work together here with Parkopedia. They are the largest provider of parking location information. And they also work together with municipalities and payment providers, so they know accurately where parking spots are. And they also source information about pricing, about residential area, parking restrictions, stuff like that. In some streets, you have garbage collection once a week, then this street also gets closed. All this information goes into our model, and all this information is easily accessible to our user. The workflow is quite simple. So when you start your journey, you type in the destination in your navigation system, and you get an overview map of the destination. And what you can do is you can add an overlay, a heat map that indicates the likelihood, the probabilities colored in red, yellow, or green to find a parking spot. And when you start to drive and the situation is changing, of course, this is likely, you get an automatic update that something has changed and that you might want to go somewhere else. Of course, you can also turn this heat map on anytime while you're driving, and especially if you have a longer ride, it makes sense only to switch this on once you're approaching your destination. What is very important to note is also we're not only displaying availability. So if we know that there is a couple of parking spots available, this would be green, but we're doing more than that. The longer that we run our model, the better we understand that the parking behavior is different in different street segments. Especially in inner city areas, parking spots are exchanged more frequently than in residential areas. This means that if a street segment in the city is completely blocked, the likelihood to find a parking spot might still be quite good because the spots are exchanged so frequently, every 5 minutes or every 10 minutes, whatever. So this then would, for example, be an example for a yellow-colored street segment. This also goes into our model, and the longer that we run the model, the better, obviously, it gets. Now, what we also have here is, just as an additional information for our user, is price filtering. So you can choose whether you want to go for a free parking spot, for a cheap parking spot, or for an expensive parking spot. So we have the price ranges of the different street segments in the city, and we are able to dynamically calculate this for our users. To give you a little bit, the bigger picture, we're really excited about this. We're the first ones to bring this to market. And as I said, 20% of inner city traffic is caused by people looking for parking spots. And if you think a typical ride is 25 minutes, you maybe have two rides a day, so that makes already 10 minutes that you potentially could save 1 hour a week or so, one hour per week, yeah. This is an immense benefit to the customer, and this is also an immense benefit to the public, because general traffic congestion can go down, emissions can go down. But this is part of a bigger picture that we aim to address with our service portfolio. So it's not only about bringing people from A to B, but it's also to have a comprehensive service portfolio that helps the customer to ideally travel from A to B. So one more service that I would like to highlight here that we've been developing together with our partner here is Urban Guidance. That is a full-blown public transit integration that also allows to access public transit information, for example, Deutsche Bahn, and you're even able to purchase a ticket for long-distance trains directly from our app. What we also have been doing is we work together with Flink, which has now gained more popularity since they've started to work with Deutsche Bahn and with Opel. So they are a ride-sharing platform. And if you want to drive, for example, this evening to Frankfurt, and you enter this into our system, Flink will look for other people that also want to go the same route, and in our navigation app you will be offered people that will have the same route as you, and you can also earn money with that actually. So our overall game is to enhance daily travel routines, and definitely parking is a very, very important topic, and we've always felt that parking is really a pain point to many of our customers, and we're very happy now that we were able to address this, and we're very happy with the feedback that we received. And of course, I'm also happy to answer your questions now that you might have.
Thank you, Martin. Where are the questions? Here's one.
Hi, I'm Dimitri from Treiblmayr. So, very impressive presentation. How do you collect this inflow, outflow data, and also how granular is the data? For example, some streets may run for several kilometers. Do you actually check every segment of the road? What is inflow versus outflow? And
yeah. So we have probe data on we have our own probe data, obviously, from our users. Parkopedia also has other partners that they work with. And yes, we do this on a very granular basis on every street segment, on block basis, basically, yes.